On Money Monk, we now have Pankaj Bansal. Sir, thanks a lot for joining us. He's the CBO of Bank Bazaar. I wanted to ask you in the fintech sector, right now we're seeing a lot of digital lending space को लेकर there is a lot of clarity तो है but do we also have regulations coming in when we see because there is still a lack of norms, clear cut norms. So how do you see the picture going ahead?
So I think the latest regulation that has come is digital lending guidelines, which is clearly defined by RBI in terms of what you can do, what you cannot do, how the customer interface should happen. So whether you look at customer in the form of that you have to showcase the product first. If you give it, you have to give him a free look period for 30 days, for example, in personal loan. So I'm allowed as a consumer to make sure that I get the right product. There is no the mis-selling that can happen on that particular thing. So I think these are good things for the industry in the long run because customer is getting protected. At the end, there are two very important things that the regulator is looking at. One is your consumer protection in terms of any kind of an interest deficit that can happen. Second is your, I would say, cost. So both the things I think RBI has taken cognizance of it and they're trying to build it the right forums around it and I think everybody is complying, right from banks. They're displaying all the information pre to the consumer before it's onboarded, and the consumer is also given a free look period for 30 days, for example, if you want to change his mind and without any cost.
Right. So, talking about the fintech sector and the digital lending space, it's relatively quite new and an upcoming booming sector for India. So, how do you see the growth going forward?
So in fintech, right, if you look at the industry is already at $50 billion from a market cap perspective, and we're seeing is about 3x growth happening in the next 5 years. So from 2021, we are looking at about 25, about $150 billion. It's going to grow faster. And if you look at the Indian adoption globally, it's about 87% Indian adoption in the fintech sector as a global average of 64%. So I think these are the very numbers you can see. You look at your UPIs, you look at your payments, the way it is transacted in the country. I think it's going to be phenomenal, this thing. And we are confident by 2030 it will be like 1 trillion economy for the Indian sector. So I think it's going to boom. It's booming already. We are growing at 22-23% year on year, and I think the space will keep growing the way it is growing right now. In spite, and I think what regulator is trying to do is give you public goods which is open. In globally, you don't find this public goods so openly being done. In India, it's at free of cost as at source, which is very important from a consumer as well as a company like us to make sure that we get the right goods infra and at from source.
So, when we see startups like Zomato and Paytm, we see big numbers coming in. There's a lot of profit, but when do we see the break-even for them? And is Zerodha a success story going forward? Like, will that be a setting example for them?
So I think most of the industry now moving to a profitability. Zerodha has done the right things right from the day one in terms of how they have been doing it. I would say even Paytms and all the listed companies where you already got listed with tech as a backend, their road to profitability is also like 18 to 24 months from now. And they started building their infrastructure, they're building their process around it that need to be profitable. So I'm sure they will be able to cover that ground, which they started maybe 2 years back, right? And adoption. That adoption has now moved to profitability. I would say I think everybody is cognizant, even us, that we just want to be profitable and make money rather than just spending money and burning money for the VCs.
Hoping for a lot of profit coming in for the fintech sector. Thank you so much for your insights. So that was Pankaj Bansal of Bank Bazaar on Money Monk.